reality competition. My name is Eric Wright, otherwise known as @DiscoPosse to most people, and from my blog discoposse.com. And I'm here presenting today with Angelo Luciani of virtuwise.com, also known to many as @Angelo Luciani on Twitter. So, Angelo, welcome aboard, and we're ready to kick off challenge number 1. So this is a pretty exciting time for us because what we did on the first segment was we visited the original designs we wanted people to present. So this is particularly exciting because we're going to be judging the competitor submissions that they brought in for challenge number 1. So for anybody that's watching live, if you want to tweet us, you can use the Virtual Design Master, all one word, hashtag, so just pound Virtual Design Master, and you can help to cheer on your competitors and show some love to the judges and the competitors and the sponsors who've helped to put this great event together. And I guess to start things off, we want to thank our sponsors who really have given us this opportunity. I could speak personally firsthand on one of our sponsors, which is baremetalcloud.com. So they were very kindly giving a $1,500 voucher to our winner of the Virtual Design Master throughout the challenges. And they are a dedicated server environment provider. So they give bare metal private servers, and you can provision them in seconds anywhere. You know, I'm sure there's a better tagline for that. But anyways, go to baremetalcloud.com and see what they're all about. It's pretty cool stuff. Angela, maybe you want to talk about our friends over at Train Signal, who are also our sponsor in the event.
Yeah, I'm thankful for Train Signal to participate in this competition. They're award-winning computer training. In fact, a couple of our judges, most recent Chris Wall, has got a training video out, VMware vCloud Director 5.1 Essentials. Good way to get up and started quickly. And as well, Scott Lowe has got a video as well, a training video as well, designing VMware infrastructure. So it's great to see our judges part of the Train Signal team. Eric?
Excellent. Well, thanks, Angelo. That's you can't get much better than having your own judges in there. So, and of course, we want to thank our friends over at RadicalIO.com. RadicalIO are the team that brought us the Virtual Design Master mobile app. So they create enterprise mobile apps and web solutions for pretty much anything you need. So make sure if you go to the virtualdesignmaster.com page, you can download the app off the links. For iOS devices, just click on the iTunes App Store link. And for Android devices, of course, you click on the Google Play link. Download the app, enjoy the program along. In fact, we're streaming it live over the app as we speak. And go back in and rate it and give some feedback, because we really want to get a sense of what you like about the app and what you want to see from it going forward in the Virtual Design Master competition. So, of course, we've got a wide array of judges. And because of time zone excitement and challenges, we have one of them sitting in today. So Chris Wall has joined us today. So thank you, Chris, for sitting in. Of course, our remaining judges are Scott Lowe, as Angelo mentioned, Mike Laverick, and oh, we just dropped some of our guys there. We just lost Chris. It's all right. There you go. He'll be back in a second. And Josh Atwell is our 4th judge. So they're very kindly sitting in and reviewing our designs, and they've sent Chris on their behalf to represent today here. So. And of course, you know, we wouldn't be anywhere without our competitors who are involved here. So we want to thank Joe Graziano, Akmal Wahid, and Akmal, goodness, I hope I'm saying that correctly. Yeah. Paul Valentino, Gert Van Gorp, and Jonathan Frappier for coming in. So, anyways, let's go back, talk about our previous episode, where our competitors, we were given our first challenge, and the idea was to create something from bare hardware, not only bare hardware, but pre-2008 bare hardware. It was a very exciting challenge that was given to us. It was on the premise of a zombie apocalypse where we had lost everything, and a billionaire philanthropist wanted to rebuild the environment. So our competitors were given a 3 data center competition, you know, where they had to come up with a complete design from end to end, and it had to house servers, workstations, applications, and we had to have network designs and everything from soup to nuts and across the board. It was fairly open-ended as well, which makes this particularly exciting because, you know, we weren't strict about things, but what we got back was amazing. So we got some pretty cool designs here. So in only 4 days, they had to come back and they had to submit their designs and had them reviewed by our judging panel. So right now, this is our opportunity. We want to bring our competitors here, and they're going to have a 3-minute sort of elevator pitch time to talk about their design, and then and Chris is going to make some comments on it. So Angelo, if you want to walk us through that.
Yeah, thanks, Eric. So as Eric mentioned earlier, we're going to have Akmal go first, then Jonathan, and then Joe. What I'm going to do, Akmal, is I'm going to give you 3 minutes to share about your design. Maybe there's something that you think you need to elaborate on or defend. I'm going to give you 3 minutes, and I will cut in on you if you go beyond the 3 minutes. So try to make it succinct and very clear for the judges. So your time starts now.
Hey, good morning, guys. Now, as the requirement was to have 3 data centers, so I started with selecting the hardware which was available in 2007 and 2008. So I shortlisted with HP DL580G5 server with a good configuration, and NetApp FAS 3050 and NetApp FAS 2050. So to start with the first data center, I decided to have all the 5,000 virtual servers, second data center with 1,000, and third data center with 500 virtual servers plus the desktop solution. Now, I did all the calculations to choose the number of servers required to host all the 5,000 virtual servers in the first data center. To start with, I have a single sign-on on multi-site and virtual center in linked mode, so that in future any administrator can can manage all of these 3 environments from the same place. For deployment, I will be using auto deploy with stateful, so that the installation is done at one time, and the ESX is available on the local drive. So I used the distributed switch, so that all the servers have the same configuration. And for storage, I'm using NFS and fiber channel. Now, the complete calculation includes anticipated 10% growth, so that in future, if any hardware is added, I have all the scalability, plus N+2 resource availability for HA, so that the hosts are available in case of any disaster. Now, data center 2 or the secondary side is the exact replication of the first data center, just that it would be hosting 1,000 servers. Now, data center 3 tertiary side is divided into 2 parts. The first part is the infrastructure part, where I have 500 virtual servers. Second part, again, I have divided into 2 stages. The first stage would have virtual desktops, where I'll be implementing Horizon View 5.2, so that with all the configurations, including 2 security server, 2 connection server, so that even the users from primary side and secondary side can connect through the security server. And also I have application virtualization, Canap, and plus the Horizon workspace for the application. That would be the second stage, where I would be integrating the application, the Horizon workspace, which would be integrated with the Horizon View, so that applications can be deployed to 1,500 devices. So
That's great, Akmal. Your time's up. That's perfect. You fit it right in 3 minutes. Great job. Good summary. Chris, do you have any comments, questions for Akmal for his design?
Yeah. So to begin, I like the graphic on the front page, but moving to more technical matters, I guess I'll start with some comments first, and we'll move forward from there. First, I like that you outlined the CAR constraints, assumptions, risks, and requirements very clearly on your document. I think that really makes it pretty clear to anyone who has to read the doc from a potential client or customer side what you're trying to accomplish. I did have a question moving through your document here, and I made some highlights, so let me just find where I made a highlight here, around the admission control policy. So you've got an 8% number for your primary data center. Do you want to speak a little more into why you chose 8%?
Yeah, so now before I came to the 8%, I calculated. So the assumption what I made was all the 5,000 virtual servers in my primary site would have same amount of load, and they are of the same sizing. So depending on the utilization, the peak utilization, again I assume that depending on the utilization, I calculated the total number of hosts required for hosting all the 5,000 servers. Now again, with all those calculation, I also included 10% anticipated growth plus n plus 2 HA availability factor. Now it came up to 54 servers, including everything. Now, as a DRS limitation, I can have 32 hosts per cluster. So again, I split it these 54 servers into two clusters, 27 hosts. Now, I wanted to provide n plus 2 availability. So when I do the calculation, when I do 8% reservation, I get the resources which is equivalent to two servers. So in case if two physical servers goes down, I still have resources available to host all my 2,500 servers in the first cluster, and with 20% headroom, so that if any of the virtual servers are demanding more resources, there are resources available. There wouldn't be any resource crunch in the first cluster. So
Okay.
similarly, in the second cluster, I have 27 servers with 8% availability reservation. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay, good. Chris, if you don't have anything else, we'll move on to Jonathan.
I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Chris. Thanks, Akmal. Good job. Okay, Jonathan, your time starts now.
Thanks. So I started the design trying to focus on the application design and requirements versus the underlying physical infrastructure, and try to think through all of the requirements for hosting various application servers, email servers, web application servers, the supporting infrastructure for it, Active Directory, SQL, things like that, and wanted to take those requirements from there and almost fill in the hardware underneath it. Drastically underestimated the time required, even just for something as simple as writing down what I had already thought through and kind of drafted on the side. So I didn't necessarily get to all the specs I had hoped for. So it probably started reading that way, at least I would hope, and then probably kind of just cut off and went to trying to outline the various cluster configuration options.
Okay, thanks, Jonathan. Chris, any comments for Jonathan's design?
Yeah, so the first comment I have is this is a very well-rounded design. I like the construction of it. So I don't know if you'll ever share it publicly or not, but you should be very proud of this document. The one comment I'll make first off is that you defined an SLA. I think that's pretty forward-thinking, and you chose something realistic, 3 nines, which I think is realistic for the fact that this hardware is 5 years old, something like that. So in the world of zombies, I guess 3 nines is all we can expect.
Yeah.
Moving forward, I'm just curious if you want to talk a little bit about maybe some of the positive negatives of your storage choice. I think the both of you so far have chosen HP for your compute. Now we have one NetApp, we got one EMC. I guess why the NS 480? I think you chose.
I'm most familiar. Storage is probably one of my weaker points technically. Solera is what I'm most familiar with, having deployed some NS 120s into production. The reason I went with, other than the familiarity, I felt like the Solera gave me the most flexibility for future configuration options, in that I could support Fiber Channel today for my host configuration, but then I'd also have options for NFS or CIFS in the future. And since there was no budget requirement, I just figured I'd go with the one that supported the most disk.
Okay. I guess the only other comment I would make is I know there was a crunch for time, but some more maybe around the logical would help visualize it. It took me a little bit. I had to go through it a couple times to figure out kind of exactly what you were looking at from a logical perspective, how the data centers were kind of laid out and connected. I think the data's in here, and if you had more time, I think you could have done more diagrams, something like that, but that would be my only kind of piece of criticism. Everything else looks great.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Chris. And to Chris's point, we will be publishing the design documents when this hangout is finished. We will be publishing. We will have a blog post go up, and everyone's design documents will be made public for people to comment on and learn from. So that's a great point, Chris. We're going to have that up right after this session. Okay, Joe, we're going to have you up. You're going to have 3 minutes to comment about your design, share something that you think you may have missed or ran out of time. So your time starts now.
Okay. Well, conversely to Jonathan, I think I focused a little more on hardware. And since there were 3 buildings, I focused on trying to find a design that was scalable, easily duplicated for the growth that was mentioned in the requirements. And right now I'm going to focus on the primary data center. I put 3 core, 3 Nexus 7000 switches in there with a bunch of 48-port Gigi blades to support what I calculated at about 100 Dell PowerEdge servers for the virtual servers and for the desktop environment. Put a wireless controller in there also because, with the apocalypse, there's going to be a lot of people in there and there may not be enough seats for people to sit, so I added a wireless solution in there, as well as an Avaya voice over IP system so that the offices could communicate with each other, and so that the offices could communicate, I threw in redundant PIX firewalls and Cisco ASR edge routers, as well as the firewalls being able to support DSL from home and from remote locations. I did talk about the applications a little bit, the Active Directory domain and Exchange environment, SharePoint, but I think what I tried to focus on was the fact that from data center 1 to the outside data centers, it was a very scalable solution and very easily repeatable. So I think that's where a lot of my focus and time was spent.
Good summary, Joe. Chris, comments, questions for Joe's design?
Sure. So, Joe, I get the feeling that you're kind of a network guy by reading this. You seem to have a very, very high detail or level of detail on the network, the routers, switches, firewalls, and that kind of stuff.
You'd be surprised. I was thrown into that. So I can do it. I can do it well. I prefer the servers and the virtual environments and the software more, but yeah, I can do it. Okay.
So I'll give you the compliment sandwich on that. It was definitely very clear what you wanted to do from an application and a network perspective. You covered many different applications you want to virtualize, like mailbox servers and the infrastructure behind that, as well as how the connectivity be put together for the workstations and the sites. It's been interesting watching or looking at the different designs. Everyone's kind of picked different hardware, and I know you went with. Pardon me while my internet pukes here. I noticed you went with the big beefy Dell R900s with a pillar stand, which I thought was really interesting. You want to talk about that at all?
Yeah, I went with a pillar. I thought it would be a little bit of a surprise factor. It was the hardware that we have in place at my organization from 5 years ago. So when you mentioned that time frame, I went, oh, I have a saying right for you.
Okay. So experience for the pillar, gotcha. So yeah, kind of similar to some comments that I made in the previous design. I know it's a short period of time. It's very important to get across to the judges in this case, but definitely clients, or if you're going for like a VCDX or something, diagrams are very helpful just because there is such a large quantity of data here, and getting the visualization from a logical or even a physical perspective is just really great for communicating information. I went over the design. I think it's all there. But that would be, I guess, my suggestion moving forward is at least have some kind of, maybe not MS Paint, but Visio, a basic level is absolutely acceptable. But other than that, I thought you had a lot of interesting information covered on the application level as far as Vue, the infrastructure, virtual machines, etc. And definitely hit a home run on the network piece.
Thanks.
Great, thanks, Chris. Great insights on all three designs. Good job, guys. We really enjoyed the. I'm not sure how it evolved over on Twitter, but we really enjoyed the teasing of the designs. I think it started with Jonathan taking a screenshot, or Joe, of their design, and we really enjoyed the back and forth on that. So we felt like it was sort of fuel for the fire, sort of pushing on each other to get their design finished. So that was really exciting, and it was really interesting reading the designs as well. I'm going to pass it back over to Eric, and he's going to fill in the next upcoming steps.
So at this point, we have some interesting news. Just like every every show has to have its twist. This is our twist. As part of the Virtual Design Master, of course, you guys are aware of how much it took to put this together, and it was a huge undertaking. And we're very impressed with what you guys were able to turn around in of what turned out to be a very short time. Even if this is your full-time job, 4 days would be a tough run to get this together. So the fact that you guys did this over and above, evening and weekend time, we're really proud to have you guys in, and that's why you're here, competing for these spots. So as a result of those commitments, unfortunately, due to some personal and professional challenges, our other competitors, Paul Valentino and Gert Van Gorp, actually had to withdraw from the competition. So I suppose in a good way we made you defend for your life just now, and I think you guys did great. But as a result of the fact that we've had to have some guys step down, we're actually going to be moving everybody on the Hangout today is going to be moving forward into Challenge 2. So welcome aboard, everybody. Congratulations on what you did. Anyways, regardless of however many people we had to pitch you up against, these were incredible designs. They were beautifully done, and as Chris brought up, it's just the details though were solid. If anything, the shortcomings were really light. If you compare to what most of these people who are watching this right now, they're going to be dutifully impressed when these posts go live. So as part of it, of course, is we aren't just looking at shaving guys off the bottom, which luckily attrition has done that for you with a couple of guys. But in this case, we do want to highlight sort of the strong designs, because if we were to look and say if this was a VCDX challenge as an example, and Chris having gone through that, obviously, he's got a really good handle on what people are looking for. We're gonna ask our judges, or in this case our judge. So Chris, in our case here, if you had to pick one out, like I said, and we're not necessarily saying that it's necessarily better or worse than anything else, but what was a real highlight of one that stood out?
Well, I definitely want to reiterate kind of what you said originally, that for 4 days, or fudge the number a little bit, this is a lot of work. So it's all very impressive documentation to supply on short notice. I think I'd have to give, in this instance, the nod to Jonathan. The document was just really solid. It covered, I think, somewhere around 12 different sections. There was appendices, there was manifests. It really clearly communicated to me what the intention was, and quite frankly, it was peppered with little pieces of humor, which where you're reading a 22-page document that's enjoyable. So kudos to you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah. So thank you, Chris. So obviously, out of that, we want to thank again, like I said, everybody. We're amazing designs, and as we take these designs and we move towards Challenge 2, this is where it gets really exciting. So. You thought this one was tough. The zombies are a little more aggressive than we thought. So what we've brought in with Challenge 2 is the idea of some business continuity and some disaster recovery. Now, as if we didn't already recover from a disaster where we built from the ground up with our age-old 2008 hardware, a true virtual design master doesn't just build for success, but they have to be able to build for failure. So in your Challenge 2, you have to take your current design and you're going to put it to the ultimate test. So your primary site has been wiped out by the roaming zombie army. And as a result, your challenge in Challenge 2 is going to be creating an entire redundancy plan in your secondary and tertiary site to run all of your services. Now, you already brought up some stuff around SLAs and talking about failover plans, so now is the time that we're going to enact those failover plans. But we want to get a little bit more detailed. So because you've already laid out your primary designs, this is your chance to talk about real enhanced detail at the software level. So we're going to ask you is not only do you have to come up with a plan, there's going to be a few different changes, obviously with some connectivity because we had primary site connectivity only with WAN connectivity to the secondary and tertiary site. So now we're going to change that a little bit, and that'll be part of your design document that you get. But your real idea here is that you've got to price out using a particular product or products what your recovery solution is going to look like for a data center and the amount of resources that are in your design. So it's a very large-scale effort, and being able to price that out, because although we do work for a billionaire philanthropist in this case, thanks to Melissa's great design, while money is no object, budgeting is. And as a virtual design master, you have to be able to present designs and be able to price it and present that to your stakeholders as well. So your design packet is going to come to you this week, and it's going to talk about the specifics about the grand failures that have happened and the changes that are going to come into play. So this is going to be a really exciting time for you to go and now really show your chops on business continuity and dealing with sort of fast-thinking recovery scenarios. So this is your chance to be creative, be thorough, as Chris talked about. This is and have fun with it. Show us why you are the virtual design master, and this is going to be your chance to shine. So, Chris, any thoughts on what you would want to see if you're coming into a business continuity challenge?
Yeah, I'd definitely like to point out some tips, I suppose. As it's always good to highlight what your RTOs and your RPOs are, how you're going to hit them, how you're going to support the SLA that the business has, and really get a good grasp around what that process is going to be. So when you bring up those applications in your DR scenario or in your second and or tertiary site, kind of what's the game plan from a business perspective or an application perspective, and more around the high level around, I guess, those sorts of things instead of just bringing up the SAN or bringing up a server or something like that. So I think any details around how to bring up the application or the business requirements will be key, as well as any kind of logical or conceptual diagramming around that process will be very helpful to kind of churn through all that information and digest it. Just because really I think something that gets kind of lost by doing this over and over again is no one knows your design better than you do, and sometimes you're beginning to write that document and you revisit it over the last 4 or 5 days, and you really know it, but there may be some holes where they're in your head, but they're not in the docs. I think diagrams really help kind of translate that. And if you can get any peer reviews as well within that time frame, maybe they can ping some questions off of you and help fill those gaps. So good luck. I look forward to reading what everybody has to offer.
That's great advice, Chris.
Angelo, what do you think? What are you looking for in a great business continuity design?
I'm just interested in how these guys are gonna push each other on design. I mean, just going back to the earlier comment about how these guys were playing with each other on Twitter. I'm really looking forward to how they're gonna maybe push or divert maybe a design kind of tell people I'm going this way when really they're really going that way. So I'm looking forward to that. So
excellent. I can tell you I've come at this from a dozen years at least, or maybe more, but I try not to tell people that in business continuity design. So I'm going to be very excited to see what you guys have to bring to this one. It's a great opportunity to again, and highlight products again. Like I said, pricing isn't necessarily an issue because we're not talking about specific licensing and limitations, but we do want to at least say what it's going to cost, and this gives you an opportunity to really work at that next level where you're sort of doing CIO style presentations as well as being able to get down into the weeds and show what the actual technical layouts are going to look like. So it's going to be pretty good times here. So Akmal, you made it through round one. How are you feeling coming into round two?
Yeah, I mean, I'm feeling really great because it's a great platform to learn and show our thinking and the imagination. So I did learn a lot of things from my first design because I was thinking a lot. I was spending more time on imagining, and then when I realized I have to document and design everything, I was taking a lot of time. So this time I'll have a different strategy. I'll have my documentation and also my design, so that in the last moment I don't run out of time. So yeah.
Excellent.
Great.
Joe, what do you think? You made it through challenge one. You're on to challenge two. How does it feel?
Feels pretty good. Definitely excited about the disaster recovery business continuity. I've been doing that at my job for about 11 years now too. So hoping to apply a lot of the stuff I've learned, a lot of the stuff I've done, and like Chris said, maybe be a little more detailed in the document, and try to impress you again.
Excellent. Jonathan, it's that time for all that V brown bag goodness to come into play here. What do you think? You made it through challenge one. You ready for challenge two?
Absolutely. I know, Joe, you said you've been working on it for a while, but I've got some great tips from some current vendors. You really don't need to worry about DR anymore. I would just take it easy for the next couple of weeks. I wouldn't write too much. It should be an easy one. So take a couple of days off.
Yeah.
I like to see trash talking right in the live hangout. That's how we roll.
Really nice. Really nice. I think everyone can take a deep breath now that they've all moved on to round two. So that's you can pat yourself on the back.
Yeah, and Jonathan doesn't have to do DR for a pillar. So I mean that's already an advantage right there.
That's great.
Okay, guys. Well, obviously it's been an intense challenge. So thank you very much for what you've done up to this point. Thank you to our friends at baremetalcloud.com and to trainsignal.com and to radicalio.com. Lots of .coms in there. And thanks to Chris for being able to come, and thanks to our other judges who gave their time and to review these. And we want to send a special thanks, obviously, to Gert Van Gorp, who had a great kick at the design, but like I said, unfortunately wasn't able to commit. And same with Paul Valentino. These are great guys that would have been really intense challengers. So I can say that it's a nod to the kind of talent that we've got in this pool, and we're very proud to be a part of this and watch you guys go through this. And I can also say it's for the three guys that are remaining. You can cross your fingers that you got the free pass on this one, but it's not going to be so easy in the second challenge. So, Angelo, why don't you tell us a little bit about how we want to close out, and then especially we've got a bit of a schedule change because we're wrapping around VMworld. So maybe Angelo, if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, so I'm excited about VMworld. I just want to share three things that's going on. Eric, myself, I know Chris, and I think most of the guys on the panel we'll be spending a lot of our time in the hang space. So if people watching or viewing the recording, come down, come by, say hi, engage us. We really want to meet new people, build some new relationships, talk about the challenge. So we're looking forward to that. As well, there's the V Brown Bag Tech Talks that are going on. So we encourage everyone to come out and support the speaker and get some really good info from those Tech Talks. They got some really awesome folks speaking. I know Eric will be doing a session called Bridging the Gap to Private Cloud. So looking forward to that. As well, don't forget to come out to the VMUG booth. Great spot to connect with folks. Exciting giveaways, but it's a great spot to just engage, sit down, chat, and just enjoy your time at VMworld. The other thing I want to mention is the schedule of events, upcoming events. So when we're going to be issuing the challenge. We've issued the challenge, but it'll be emailed out to the participants shortly, and they have from August 18th to the 21st to complete their challenge. From August 22nd to September 5th, that's time set aside for the judges to review the design solutions. We have a bit of a break there just because of VMworld and everyone's got prior commitments to things at VMworld, whether they're speaking engagements or meeting vendors or other things like that. So there's a bit of a break in there. So our next Google Hangout is going to be September 6th. We're still deciding on the time. I think this time here works well, so it might be at 11 p.m. Eastern again. And that's where the judges will comment on the design solutions, and we'll find out who actually gets vMotioned off the panel. So look out for September 6th. So and at that same time we'll have the third challenge issued and hopefully crown a virtual design master in the following week. So look out for that. Check out the schedule on virtualdesignmaster.com. All the information's posted there. All the designs will be posted there. So look out for that. Eric?
Thanks, Angelo. So yeah, it's going to be a busy time with VMworld coming up. Obviously, we've got a lot of our guys that are going there, so we're going to be really good to actually connect to firsthand and get there and actually get to visit some of our sponsors firsthand as well. So this is going to be a pretty exciting time over the next couple of weeks. So good luck, guys, with the second one. And before we go, actually, while we talk about sponsors and community and things that are being done, Chris has got an upcoming book that's actually getting released, and maybe if you want to take a few seconds, Chris, and tell us about that one.
Sure. So, I mean, first, don't get your hopes up too soon yet. It's going to release early next year. So I'm writing as fast as I can. So the book is Networking for VMware Administrators. It's going to be published by VMware Press. And the goal is to it's always been a long-standing idea of mine to talk about bridging the silos that exist between people that are kind of server and VMware admins and networking. So the book is going to be kind of three things. One, we're going to go over, and it's actually myself and a colleague of mine named Steve Pantal that are writing the book. So that we're going to go over kind of what is networking, kind of a CCNA level understanding of what networking is on a physical side. We're going to go over everything you need to know about translating that into the virtual world. So we're going to go over all over the various ways that you do switching and networking with vSphere. And then we'll go over how to actually apply all that knowledge, so how to actually configure in a real-world environment things like NFS, iSCSI, 1 gig and 10 gig design, the whole soup to nuts so that you can build using this information. So if you're a server or VMware guy or gal, or if you're a networking person, this should help you bridge those silos and become a more well-rounded person so that you can kind of accelerate your career or just learn things that you wanted to know.
Excellent. Thanks, Chris. And that'll be great. Some great tips, and we can maybe hand one of those out to our fine friends into the second season of the Virtual Design Master. So we'll see how that goes. So, anyways, thank you very much to everybody. We're going to wrap up our second challenge. Said the challenges will go out. You'll get the email package over the next day or so, and your current challenge is going to be published online. So for those that can want to play along at home, they can actually check out and see exactly the kind of talent that we're working with here. And we're very proud. So thank you to all of our panel. Thank you to all of our competitors and to all of our sponsors. And we're going to sign off for another week, and we'll see you guys again on the 6th.
Cool. Take care.
Thank you, everybody.